What did you present today for the fourth graders?
So we talked about the scale of the universe and how big things are, how distant they are, and put it into terms that it makes sense.
Oh.
And then we discussed the sun in detail, and we set up some telescopes and we went and actually looked at the sunspots moving across the surface.
How did they like it?
They're pretty excited. Most people usually are because you can't normally stare at the sun.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat to be able to stare at something that otherwise would normally blind you.
Did most of the fourth graders get confused on what you were talking about?
No, I think it made sense. They asked questions that suggest that they understood the concepts, and we're trying to grasp for more.
Okay, because I learned that in 7th grade, and it was just hard. I was like, I didn't understand it, but I get it now.
You have to. You can go as deep as you want with this material, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Up to PhD level type stuff.
Yeah.
You have to be able to tailor it for certain age groups, and so that's a lot of what I do when I do outreach stuff like this. Is I bring it down to a level that is, where a fourth grader can comprehend it. So using things like a soccer ball and some marbles to show the sun compared to the earth and how distant it is. That makes sense to somebody. When you spit out it's umpteen billion miles away, that doesn't make sense to anybody.
Yeah.
So.
Do you teach any other grades?
I do. I actually have done this with first graders, and I do this actually with teachers as well. So I do outreach at all levels. I do outreach at the museums, state parks. We do star parties, and then mostly just local schools and things like that.
How did this come to your idea?
One year I was invited to a gathering that they had at White Sands in New Mexico, and they do an annual event there where the local schools come in from all over the region. So they have hundreds and hundreds of kids and teachers and park rangers that come, and most of the astronomers out there are what we call visual astronomers. So they're using a telescope with an eyepiece and they're looking.
Okay.
I do astrophotography, which puts a camera into a telescope, and with even a small telescope and a good camera, you can get more information and see more things than the biggest telescopes on the Earth with an eyepiece can ever see. So I usually take my equipment out there and we set it up on a big screen or projector, and it really seemed to draw a lot of attention. And so they invited me back in the future to keep coming back and do presentations, and they have an amphitheater out there. So what we did is we would hook up my telescope and a laptop to their amphitheater, and we would present in front of 500,000 people at a time.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
You should come to my class and teach,
Yeah.
because I like science. I don't know about anybody else, but science is cool to me. So
It is if you make it. It's what you make of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of topics in science. Astronomy is not for everybody.
yeah,
Some people like biology, some people like whatever, right?
chemistry. Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding something that there's an interest in, where there's an opportunity to learn more. Anyone can memorize a textbook, but it takes someone that's truly dedicated to it and interested in it to progress it,
Yeah.
to learn more than is already written, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the fun aspect. That's where you can get creative.
Well, thanks for letting me videotape you.
Sure.